Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Orlando Magic and draft night. I find the whole situation very peculiar. I think it's very, very strange, actually. And I really don't know if it's this deep. I don't have an answer for why they took Banchero. But here are the facts. Here's what I know. Jabari Smith Jr. was projected to go to the Orlando Magic for several weeks and even months. That's the way it was supposed to go. Jabari, Chet, Paolo. The Rockets had Paolo Banchero to a dinner. They had him in a workout session. It seemed almost confirmed that the top three ordered in the draft was going to go Jabari, Chet, Paolo. The Orlando Magic selected Paolo Banchero with the number 1 pick. Here's why this is weird. They didn't have a workout with him. Like, the Orlando Magic had Jabari and they had Chet, and they didn't have Paolo Banchero to a workout, but they drafted Paolo Banchero. So the way I see this, because like I said, I don't have an answer. I don't know why the Orlando Magic did this. Maybe it's because Banchero doesn't play defense, and that's right on par with the Magic. Sorry, Magic fans, you guys are on the right track. This is not a video berating the Orlando Magic. I just think that somebody said something to somebody. Somebody had to go to somebody higher up and be like, look, X, Y, we need to do Z. It doesn't make any sense to me why you would have the number 1 pick in the draft and try to throw up a smokescreen. Because if you're the Houston Rockets, you will gladly take any of those 3 players. OKC, I would say it's the same exact thing. And even in the Rockets and Thunder case, let's say the Thunder really wanted Banchero, or they really wanted Chet, they really wanted Jabari, and they got selected at number 1. And they didn't like 2 or 3. The Orlando Magic would 100% trade back. They would 100,000% trade back to like 7, 8, 9, whatever the need be to get their guy or to get the next best guy for their roster, for their franchise. So I just genuinely don't understand why the Orlando Magic, if it's even a smokescreen, when the Rockets have already kind of essentially not committed to Banchero, but like I said, the betting consensus, not only just in bets, but all the analysis, all the journalists, all the agents, everybody was saying that Jabari Smith Jr. was going to go number 1 to the Orlando Magic. It was almost undisputed that that's exactly how this was going to go down, and that Chet was going to go number 2. And even if Chet didn't go number 2 and the Oklahoma City Thunder decided to draft, say, Jabari Smith at 2, the Houston Rockets would have taken Chet. The Houston Rockets are taking anything that they can get because the top 3 players, even as far as Jaden Ivey, though that's worth it to Houston. Houston just had the worst record in the NBA for the 2nd consecutive season, and you have the 3rd pick. I've made tons of videos on my Rockets channel talking about why Houston is the big winner in this draft, because there's no LeBron James, there's no Shaquille O'Neal, there's no even Kyrie Irving, there's no Tim Duncan, there's no clear-cut consensus number 1 superstar. I think Jabari Smith is the best player in the draft. I thought the Orlando Magic agreed with it. They didn't even host Paolo Banchero to a workout. They said, we found our guy. It's either going to be Chet, it's going to be Jabari. Stats, betting odds, they showed it was going to be Jabari. And they go out and they draft Paolo Banchero. I genuinely do not understand how that happens. Now, like I said, this isn't a video berating the Orlando Magic because I think Paolo Banchero is a great basketball player. I think he is a very solid pick, whether it was 1, whether it was 2, whether it was 3. But once again, just to reiterate, there was no LeBron James in this draft. There was no Cade Cunningham even. There was no like, oh, maybe he should be 1, maybe he should be 1. It turned into Jabari because Jabari is a 6'11" pure scorer. Like he can shoot, he can score, he can defend both sides, he can do a little bit of everything. So Jabari seemed to be the best player of the draft. But you get the point. There was no LeBron James where it's like, you don't even need to ask us who we are picking because it is so obvious that it is going to be X. It's going to be LeBron. It's going to be LeBron James. It's going to be the kid from Akron. Like, don't even call our phones. Don't even try and make a trade with us because we're taking number 1. That's what would have happened if there was a LeBron James in this draft. Kind of very similar to the Detroit Pistons, although Troy Weaver, I think he was fielding calls for the pick. I would imagine there was nothing I would imagine you would have had to give like a just mind-boggling offer to Detroit last season for them to trade the number 1 pick. And they would, even if they trade the number 1 pick, I'm guessing they would have wanted 2 or 3 at the absolute latest. Last year's draft was a lot different than this year's draft, though. So, as a Rocket fan, I am not worried that the Magic didn't take Jabari. I am not upset that the Magic took Paolo Banchero. Like I said, I think Paolo Banchero is a phenomenal basketball athlete. Does need a lot of work on defense, but so do a lot of these cats coming out of college. Was Banchero the clear-cut number 1? Not really. Just not really. So I like what the Magic are doing. I like Jalen Suggs, contrary to popular belief. I wouldn't have been, looking at it right now, I would, Jalen Suggs on the Rockets this past season would not have been my favorite. But I remember making videos on the Rockets possibly drafting Jalen Suggs if they really thought he was their guy. But I really like what the Magic are getting at. I don't know if they're going to be able to or even want to bring back Mo Bamba, or they can bring back Mo Bamba. I don't know if they want to bring back Mo. Jonathan Isaac's injuries have really put a damper, I would say, on just kind of the roster and just kind of the energy on it, because Jonathan Isaac to me is like kind of what the Bulls are hoping Patrick Williams was this year. Like, Jonathan Isaac can score a little bit. He's phenomenal on defense. He can shoot threes, but he's just really phenomenal on defense. Even as a day 1 rookie, he's immediately a starter just because defensively he's already he can clamp you. He's a rookie and he can clamp you. So he's just been devastated by injuries. I like the kind of low-risk, high-reward play on Markelle Fultz. I think Wagner is obviously really talented. Franz Wagner, they got a great draft pick in Franz. I think Cole Anthony's another good player. And then obviously Wendell Carter Jr., I think, is one of the more underrated young players at his position in the league, because in Chicago, whether it was injuries, it was mainly inconsistencies. And you got to think back to that Bulls roster before AK, before the new management and ownership came into town. The Bulls we were poverty. I live here in Chicago. We were poverty. Yes, we had 3 straight 7th picks. We got Kobe White, Lauri Markkanen, and Wendell. But none of them panned out to be stars or have panned out to be stars. And Wendell, once he got traded to Orlando, it's kind of became like, oh, shit. The Magic might have a rising star on their hands right now. Wendell can do a lot of good things, particularly on the defensive end and scoring. So, just a great rebounder as well. So I like what the Magic are doing. All right, I don't want a Magic fan to watch this video and be like, this is bullshit. I trust our GM, because I would trust it. If I'm a Magic fan, I'm trusting the GM as well. I'm trusting the management. I'm trusting their plan. It just is really confusing. I'm hoping the Magic didn't go out on a whim and draft Paolo, but there was one thing I really noticed in this year's draft, and I would love if like any hardcore basketball fans watch this, like especially if you analyze and scout a lot of these rookies. Let me know if you agree with this statement. It really genuinely seemed like to me in this year's draft that a lot of these GMs, a lot of these teams don't really have an idea on who they're drafting. Like, I genuinely believe a lot of these teams, I would even go as, maybe not majority of them, but a lot of these squads seem like they really don't know what they're doing come draft day. And I'm not talking about the Magic, I'm not talking about the Kings, but I'm talking once you get into the mid to the later first rounds, it seems like a lot of these guys just don't really have set plans in place, maybe like your Oklahoma City Thunder, your San Antonio Spurs, your Detroit Pistons, your Houston Rockets, who all had phenomenal drafts. So, like, you look at look at the Lakers. Like, I don't really know what Doug Christie offers the Los Angeles Lakers. I would have gone with a player who has a lot more high upside, or who has somebody who can at least be good for you on the defensive end. No disrespect to Max Christie, because he's from my hometown, but for the Lakers, you're trying to win right now. And even if you're not trying to win right now, I still would have gone after even like Sharif, Kai Soto, because the upside's way higher to those guys than Max Christie, in my opinion. So let me know what you guys think about this video. Let me know what you think the Orlando Magic were doing when they took Paolo Banchero at number 1. I think he'll have a good, successful rookie season. I think he'll have a great career as far as Banchero goes. So, I wouldn't be upset, but it just is very weird. Why would you, like, just genuinely, if you could try and answer this question down below, let me know your opinion on this, because why would you, like, I've never seen somebody projected to go number one for so long, just all of a sudden, literally, all of a sudden, it was Banchero's going number one. Out of nowhere, somebody told somebody something that made them did that, and I don't know what it was. I don't know who it was. I don't know why. I want to know why. That's it for today, man. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, hit that sub button. Friendly reminder, if you're still watching right now, you would probably love Ciro Asio and I's daily live NBA show. I'll pin it in the comment section, but it'll also be in the description of this video. We're live every single morning at 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, 5 days a week. So hope to see you there on Monday. We're trying to get to 500 subs relatively soon, and that's it. Peace.